Well, every year we have a homes tour for the Historical Society, puts on an annual homes tour where we showcase usually a street where we'll take about 5 or maybe 6 houses on that block and open them to the public, and then have music and so forth. And this is the first year that we're going to take a rest from it for various reasons. And but then we also have a garden tour, and our garden tour is in the spring. And this year, I believe, it's on April 22nd, and it's really beautiful. And they have about 6 gardens that are very equal to what you see here, and just beautiful. And it's a fundraiser, and with that, we actually raise money for green space in the community. And we have, in the past couple of years, given probably close to $100 and some thousand to the schools. One is Francis Glenn School for the Blind.
Oh, that's right. I remember.
How we put in a sensory garden for these kids so that they can learn how to garden and they can feel and they can.
And that's in Van Ness and Clinton.
Right, right. And then we upgraded all of the had a part in upgrading. We didn't do it all together because it took really a community to do this. John Burroughs Middle School.
That's right, it looks beautiful.
And there's a reading garden in the front. If you go through that school, they don't have any, in the inner core of the school, where there's normally a playground or something, there are bungalows.
Yes.
You know, because they're overcrowding, and so there's no place for the kids to really sit.
And for the people, John Burroughs is between, is on McHatton between Wilshire and 6th
Street. And we also gave some money to the city of Los Angeles to put in the median that you see. That was actually from a home street, yes. And then we also donated some money to the to Wilshire Crest School.
Oh, nice.
For them to put in a little garden or some landscaping for the kids.
And I understand that you I know that when I was working with you on the home store, we blocked off Wilton between 3rd and 2nd, which was a major feat, but I understand you've blocked off Rossmore. Are you the only person that ever blocked off Rossmore?
Yes, yes. As far as I know. And everyone says, how did you do it? And I said, well, besides, you know, physically laying down in the middle of the street and watching the traffic stop, actually, you know, there are buses that run on this street on Sundays, and they rerouted everything. So they rerouted the buses, the traffic, and everything.
You and the LA Marathon, the only ones to ever block off.
That's all I know.
Rossmore.
Yeah,
That is
I
so
think
funny.
so.
Yeah. So, when you were at the E-Bell, you were the president of the E-Bell there, and what is, I know we're going to have the E-Bell at some point in one of these interviews, but what's the E-Bell all about? Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, the E-Bell is an organization that was founded by Adrian E-Bell, who's a man, and it was founded for women in the late 1800s, like 1890.
And originally was downtown Los Angeles.
It was. Actually, the original was these 2 sisters, and they met in the little their apartment, and there was like maybe 10 ladies that met together, and the women were all mostly associated with being wives of professors at USC, so forth. So it had an educational mission.
But it was specifically for women.
For women.
And is it still specifically for women?
Well, I think yes, and no, not really. We have men. We have men members that don't have voting rights. We shouldn't say this, but
lawsuit.
Basically we do. We have men members, but the early days was, you know, you just didn't have clubs for women. Really? Clubs were for men. Women had leagues or sewing circles or
quilting things.
Exactly. And so when Adrian E-Bell came along and said, I think we should do something to promote the education of women and give them something to do, you know, that's more substantial than sitting there and knitting. Which is also part.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah,
not that there's anything wrong with it.
But basically, they did, and there's been, so finally in 1920, I think it was 1929, 27, 29, they built the building that's on Wilshire at Lucerne, and the ladies raised the money, they built it, they oversaw it, and they also paid for it. And so it was quite a deal when they burned the you know, the mortgage, and it's beautiful building. I would suggest anybody who's not seen that building to go over there and ask for for a tour through it, because it's beautiful.
And what do they do? I mean, what do they do now?
Okay, well,
Rebel.
it's evolved through the years, and one of the things that was started way back when was they decided to give scholarships to students, college students who needed assistance in getting an education. So we have a scholarship fund, and we give, I think, probably like about $250,000, $300,000 a year in scholarships to various students throughout the county of Los Angeles. Yeah, and it's an endowed program, so it will continue to, as long as the stock market holds up and all the investments that we have made, it will continue to perpetuate itself throughout the years, and we should be able to give good service to young
Nice.
people that are trying to get a start.
Nice.
Interesting thing is, I sat on the foundation board for the Getty House, not the museum, the Getty House, and one of the ladies that was
And the Getty House is now the mayor's.
It's the mayor's mansion.
residence on
Exactly.
6th and
On
Irving,
6th,
right on the
uh-huh.
corner.
I sat on that for when Nancy Daly Reardon was and Dick Reardon was mayor, and we had a representative who came from the mayor's office that sat on the board with us, and the young lady that was there would not have been there had the EBEL not given her a scholarship to make it through school.
Really?
And she said, and we just got to talking one day, and she said, you know, I am a recipient of one of your scholarships. And I went,
of course
how
it is.
amazing,
Oh,
you know.
that's
So,
that.
mhm.
Huh. And there's that historic building across the street from that too. Do we have any update on that?
That's the Scottish Rite Temple, which is a Millage Sheets building, and it's absolutely phenomenal. It was built in the '60s, and it's kind of basically been vacant for a long time, and who knows what the I mean, I've heard stories that they want to tear it down, and that would be a real mistake, because it's beautifully done.
And Richard Battaglia from the John Arrow Group interviewing Fluff Mclean in Hancock Park over here, and I know that this is going to be the first of a series with just you alone, so I'd like to close this one interview and thank you so much for coming this early in the morning and all the information, and we're going to see Fluff again.